Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to paint this portrait in oil. But before we start, hit the subscribe button so you can help to support my channel. Okay, let's start it. For this tutorial, I'm going to use pre-tested professional oil from Grumbacher. It is a limited edition called Skin Tone Tutorial. It comes with 6 colors, and I'm going to use ES All Medium Artist Canvas. It is a cotton canvas that's already primed, and they say that is for all kind of medium, and the surface is very smooth. This is a very thin canvas, but because the surface is smooth, I think it's going to be a good fit for the portraits. So this set came with 6 colors. They have already some kind of instructions inside, so you can see different skin tones, and they have a kind of recipe for each skin tones. The colors that I have here is burnt umber, raw sienna, yellow ochre, French ultramarine, Alison crimson, and suburban white. So here you can see the colors and the mixtures that they have it, some instructions, interesting instructions, and they have like these recipes, but we can use some of those recipes, but I like to make my own mixtures. But it's nice to know that they have this, so it can help people to do their if they are started. Well, I'm going to use these brushes that's Black Swan brushes. I like a lot. That is a nice set because they have a lot of different size the brush. I start here with the skin tones. So to make this color, I mixture a little bit of the alizarin crimson and white and a little bit of burnt umber, just to give the tone that I want. And it's not, you cannot paint the whole skin with the same color because it's not going to work. You have to look it to your photo, and you're going to define what color is in that spot, because all places that you're going to paint has at least 3 different colors mixtures, you know. So if you have more shadows, you're going to put more, sometimes blue, sometimes burnt umber. Some places is a little bit more warm, you have to use more yellows or raw sienna. So it's not a recipe that you look and say, I'm going to put this color in whole skin, and then it's going to look even and nice, but not going to look realistic. So you have to look your photo and add what color is close to what you see in there. So if you see colors that's more warm, you have to add it more warm colors. And if it's more shadow, you have to add more burnt umber or French ultramarine, or you know, some colors that less white, and then you're going to adjust as you're going to see, and that's going to look realistic. You see that this set is very limited, but it's very good because you can play a lot with your painting. And I always recommend people, when you get your set, you start with your new painting, or you don't know the medium, just play with your medium. Just get your medium, do some color swatches, try mix some colors together to see how it looks. I usually, when I get a set, the first thing I do is a color swatch. And the second thing I do is mixture some white with the color and some black with the color, so I can see how it starts to, or this mixture starts to look. So if I want some colors, like a skin tone or something, I can see what color look more close with what I want, like the skin tone's a little bit more yellow. I know that if I start with the raw sienna and then add a little bit of the red and then the burnt umber, I'm going to get the closer the skin tones that I want. And if the skin tones is more warm or red, I start with the alizarin crimson, and then I add more like a little bit of the yellow ochre or something, just to adjust. But I know how the base colors are going to start to use it, and it's very important. So that's why I start always doing some mixture with my colors. In this, before I do this portrait, because this is new for me, it's the first time I paint a portrait in oil, and I like a lot because it's easy to blend, it's easy to apply. The painting is much better than acrylics that's dry too fast, and that is very difficult to blend. But you have to keep in mind that you have to put the right colors already in the place, because the mixture, when you mix the colors, you blend the colors, is just to make smooth. It's not to blend the colors in the paper or in the surface, because you're going to make a mess, and then it's going to be too oily, and then it cannot get more painting over. Because even this surface, they are limited quantity of painting, because the oil gets slick, and then on other layers didn't get over. So it's important, just plan well the colors, take your time, do your mixture, and go a little space by space. It's very important you look your reference, and you have to, when you look your reference photo, you have to think how many colors there is in one spot. Because when I'm painting, I don't look the whole picture. I just look the spot that I'm painting that time. So it's a little spot. I don't look everything. I just look that spot. And this spot that I look, I have to at least think about 3 colors that I can see in this spot. If I look at that and say, oh, this is pink, so I'm wrong, because at least I have to say 3 colors. Oh, this is a mixture of pink and then a little bit of yellow, and I can see here that is like a little spot that is a little bit green or something. You have to look like deeply in this spot. And if you have like trouble to see what I'm saying, I suggest you to get a little piece of paper, and then you make a hole in the middle of the white paper. You make a hole and put this hole over the spot that you're looking, and then you can see the difference between the other spots and this spot that you're looking right now. So if you look what I'm doing, you're going to say, but the tones is completely different one side from the other side. How it's going to look good? Well, going to look good because it's part of the shadows and in highlights. The colors get different depending on the shadows and the highlights. when you get some lights that's yellow lights, it's going to look more yellow some parts, and other parts going to look more cold, more for the white side. So that's what you have to look when you look your reference photo. What color is predominant here, what color is not. And then you're going to do your mixture like this, you know, just to fit the colors that you see. This painting, it's very thick, so it's good because have a very good coverage. But I use a little bit of, let me see, a liquid to thin out the painting, so it's easy for me to paint and blend. And the liquid help to dry the oil faster. So usually this portrait I did in the same day, but if I just the eyes I did in the next day. But if you don't use something to dry faster, you have problems. So the other day sometimes not dry and take longer for you to be able to touch your work until it's completely dry. So I'm doing here is the shadows. You can see that after the first looking that you say, oh, that's look terrible, it starts looking better. So the more you do, better it starts looking. I know we get like scared when we start painting and we see that it's just not looking the way we want. It's scared, but you don't have to worry about, because all paintings has their ugly face. The ugly face, and when you start, uh, in this case, I start doing little spots per, each time, and the painting is complete. But sometimes you have to do a base layer, and then you have to wait to dry, and then do another layer, and it's take a while to look really good. But you have to be patient and you have to be persistent, because it's the way it happened. You have to be very patient with your work. And more layers you do and more patient you are, better it's going to look. And more mixed colors, like nice mixtures you made, more realistic it's going to look. So that's why I say to you that it's very important. Play with your media. It doesn't matter what kind of media you have, play with it. Say, if you have to see how the media works, how it gets, how the behavior of the media, what you have to do to have the results that you waiting, that you hope for. So it's all about you use your medium. More you do, more you use, more you try. Doesn't matter if sometimes not work well. It's normal. It's part of the process. Sometimes it just don't work the way we want, but it's a learning process, and you have to be very aware of it. That you have to try, and it's going to take a while, but it's natural. Don't worry about it. It's very natural. It's important to remember that your drawing has to be very good. If your drawing starts wrong, you are already in the wrong path, because if you're not precise in your drawing, when you start to painting, it's not going to look natural. It's very difficult to fix after you start to draw, after you start painting. So the drawing has to be very precise, very nice. So I suggest you to draw, if you want to draw, in another paper, and then you transfer your drawing to your real surface after it's done and it's like well done. If you don't know how to draw, you don't have to worry about you. When I started painting, I didn't I didn't know how to draw. I have no idea. I never tried before, and I just use I transfer. I get the image, and then I transfer for my paper, and it wasn't a problem at all, you know, because after some time we start to pay attention so much to details that naturally you start to build this drawing skills without you notice. And after some time, when you see and you try to do something, you're going to see that it's going to work very well. You start to drawing things that you never thought that you'll be able to do it. So don't worry if you use a light box or you use transfer paper. Doesn't really matter. You can have like the drawing perfect, and if you don't know how to put lights and darks and shadows and highlights, your your painting is not going to look good at all. So drawing is one thing, is one process. If you know how to draw, oh yeah, that's perfect, amazing, that's going to help a lot with your process to paint, because you already has this good eyes to see forms and everything. But if you don't do that, if you never draw before, doesn't really matter. You know, you're going to learn that, you're going to do with time. Don't worry about it. It's a skill that's going to be built inside your brain slowly. So be patient, but you have to be very attentive to the shadows and the highlights and the forms. You cannot lose the shape of the structure of the face when you start to paint, because if you lost this little spot that you just change it, it's already going to look different. Portrait is very difficult to do. I say that because I start with wildlife, and I paint for wildlife for 2 years, and then I just feel like I want to paint a portrait and I try to paint a portrait and doesn't look good at all. My portrait looks flat and doesn't look the person that I was trying to do, and it was very frustrating for me. I say, why the person don't look like the person? I don't understand. And it was very good for me because it helped me to start to look more deeply for this shadow that I was losing this shadow. I was, didn't pay attention in all these little details that is very important. That's why I say that it is important you play with your media so you can see how the colors is going to look like. And when you need to do the mixtures, you already know how to start it. If you start with your traditional mixture of red and yellow, or you prefer to start with some burnt umber or burnt sienna, and everything can work. Like this set, that's not a very complex set, it's a very simple set, 6 colors, and you can do a lot of variation of colors there. I start with a dark skin tone because I like to paint in dark skin tones. Has a lot of colors and look very nice, and I don't want to start with too bright, too light colors, because I want to see how my painting is going to work, how they're going to behave, and I want to start with something darker that's make me see better the contrast with the colors and everything. So I think it's very important. More important than everything is you play with your media. work with your media, know your colors, know how light or dark your colors can be if you mixture with white, if you mixture with black, and if you mixture with some other colors. And sometimes you're going to be surprised to see how the colors blend and make colors completely different, like browns, and there's so many kind of mixtures you can do to get browns, like greens and blues. And when you start to mix, that makes some nice browns that you don't even think about it. So I say that that's very important. You put all your colors and try mix them. Do a chart that you mix the colors together, like all the variation that you can have. So it's a good start point for the first, when you don't know exactly what to do, what colors mix. So you will look your chart and you can have an idea what to do. I can start like this, I can use these colors to achieve these colors, and it's going to help a lot. Of course, you're going to get the point that you don't need the chart anymore, because you already know in your mind what kind of colors you're going to mix and what results you're going to have it. More you paint, more you learn, more you know what to do. You don't have to think about it anymore. You put the colors there, you know exactly what to do. But it's you need time to do that. You cannot do this kind of thing when you start, because you don't have practice. So if the practice is the more important part, that's why I say that more you paint, better you get. So you don't have to worry about to do something that don't going to look nice at the first place, because you can work over top in oils, so you don't have to worry about. You just let dry and start all over. It doesn't really matter. But the important part is just take the risk, just do it. And if it don't look nice, doesn't matter, because you're going to say, well, I know what don't look nice, I know what it did that's not working, and I'm going to do different this time. I'm going to try it like this or like that, and it's going to work. I suggest you choose chose a very nice picture to start painting, because your reference photo is very important. If the lights are not good, if you don't have like a clear picture, it's going to be difficult for you to do a good painting. A good reference photo has a very good quality and has a very strong shadows and highlights. So it's going to help you to build a very nice portrait. So I like to do the lashes from the next day, because I want to wait to dry. But unfortunately my camera was off and I didn't notice, and I couldn't film this. The full version, step by step, of this tutorial is available on my Patreon, and I will put the link below. And all the materials that I use here are listed on the description box below, and also in my website, where I'm going to put the review of the Yes canvas and the pre-test oil painting. I'm going to put the link down below too. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have some suggestion to make my videos better, please let me know on the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button if you like it. If you don't subscribe yet, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos, and you can help to support my channel. Thank you.